Hey everybody, hello, hello, hello. Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. It's actually boa tarde. Tudo bem? Hope you're well. So it is 2 days after the Eurovision, I think. Yes. And I had to think about putting another one of these up about it. So this is my last one. The last one I'm going to talk about Eurovision for another year. I'm sure you'll all be freaking delighted. So how did I think it went? I can never look through these properly when I'm doing this. Anyway, how did I think it went? I think there was no surprises. I think that we all knew that Loreen was going to win, and I thought it was a good song. Did I think it was as good as Euphoria? Absolutely not. Euphoria is the ultimate Eurovision song, and it will always be that way for me. I absolutely love it, and I still listen to it as like a regular song. Because a lot of Eurovision songs you maybe listen to for a while because you heard them in Eurovision and then you sort of forget about them on your playlist. But that particular Euphoria is the one that I listen to all the time. So I was not surprised. It wasn't really a very surprising Eurovision. It was an excellent Eurovision. I think Liverpool did an amazing job. The BBC did a fantastic job. I think the presenters were really good, especially Hannah Waterman. I always get her name wrong. Put it up here. I did think it was a bit weird. Graham Norton, he wasn't the best commentator. I don't know where you were watching it from around the world, but he was a bit like a deer caught in the headlights. It didn't seem to suit him, the format. I thought so. That was very odd, but it was good to have him there because obviously he does all the commentary in the box and so on for years and is so brilliant at it. But I don't know. It was a bit weird. He didn't seem to be comfortable, especially doing the scoreboard. I don't know if you agree. But so yeah, so we had Sweden win, so now they've drawn with Ireland 7-all, and they've also had one person do win with one person win twice. So we had Johnny Logan, and they have Loreen. So that's interesting. So Ireland better get their fucking finger out now and really make an effort so as to break the record again, if ever it'll happen. But I have to say, my favorite song of the whole night, I still love Israel. Thought she was a really fantastic unicorn. But the Italian song, oh my God, he absolutely melted our hearts. We were sitting here with a couple of friends, and we were just like, he was so beautiful, number one, and so you could tell he just was singing his heart out, and it was really beautiful to watch. So I loved Italy, and it's on my playlist, and I can't remember the name. I'll put it up here now in a second. But I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a really beautiful song. I thought, I would have loved him to win, to be honest with you. I thought that he really deserved it, especially for his outfit. It was beautiful. But they came fourth, so that's a really good placement. So yes, I thought the whole thing, Finland coming second wasn't a surprise, and then the rest of the world. I didn't think that England again, the UK are back down, fourth from the bottom. I thought that it was a good sort of a similar situation I felt with the Irish girl. Who sang Maps, Leslie Roy? She sounded really, really good. Recording wise, but then she didn't really deliver. I thought on the night, I thought she was a bit out of tune, probably a little bit nervous. I also don't think that they helped her by before she sang. They did a break and they talked to people, and I was like, that seems a bit weird. And then she came on afterwards. So it was like they interrupted the broadcast just because she was last. And then, that would signal to me I'm going to go to the loo, or I'm going to go make a cup of tea or whatever, pour a drink. So I don't know whether that helped them. I'm not sure if you agree. I'd love to know your thoughts. So that was that. But I was just thinking about, as I am the old man of 51, um, what were the songs that meant a lot to me over the years? I'd love to know your impressions, and if you could drop and let me know which songs meant loads to you from the years gone by of Eurovision. Obviously, we've got the people who made it big, like ABBA, Waterloo, and Celine Dion, obviously, as well, and the more recent bands who have made it really, really, really big. But to me, I'm just going to name a couple, or a few of the performers who really did, who have always stuck in my mind and have always meant something to me. And the first would be Johnny Logan and What's Another Year. Simply because I was 7 years old when he won, and I made my communion, my Holy Communion. I'm no longer Catholic, but back then, my mother and father, I was at the Catholic school, so I had to make my communion. But I put a picture of me on my communion. So I'm all dressed in white with a ginormous big bow tie that's bigger than my head. And my mother knit my jumper, and I wore the coolest sandals. I loved my sandals. They were little strappy, painted blue strappy sandals, little sort of strap overs, and I thought they were so cool. And I got them from Clark's, and I got my feet measured on one of those machines that they had in Clark's, which you used to go in and go, oh, it's going to squash my foot, but they didn't. But that's what I wore. You'll see in the picture now. But I remember we lived in a place in Dublin, in South County Dublin, called Kilmacud, and Irish people will know, Dublin people will know where that is. And my father's pub was a place called Trainers, or it was called the Goat Grill, which is still there today. And when we made my communion, we went there for lunch, and my brother and my whole family and my mum, because obviously it was a big deal. And the whole place was packed with other kids and their families who made their communions as well. And it also happened to fall on Eurovision night. So that night it was amazing. I remember it so vividly. I remember all the smoke, because you could smoke in bars then, everybody smoking and drinking and so on. And I remember basically going around to everyone in the bar, because my father knew all the people in the bar very well, and the owner very well. And every one of them, as they drank more, would get more sort of, they'd give me more and more money. So by the end of the night, they were giving me tenors and fivers and tenors. And I mean, that was a lot of money then. And I remember I counted at one stage, before the money was taken off me, I counted £1,000, because £1,000, because that's a lot of money then. And that was all from the bar, the people in the bar, because they were getting more drunk. And then I'll never forget watching the screen, and it was a little sort of TV in the corner, and Johnny Logan, his name, and he won the Eurovision, and the place went mad. It erupted. It was such a huge, huge, big, thing. It was such a huge thing to win the Eurovision. It was so big, and it meant that we were back on the map, and that's how important Eurovision was to us then. But I remember just being so proud and so happy, and like, oh my gosh. And I remember the feeling, even though I was only 7, I had my 2 front teeth gone. And I still remember the feeling. And then I also remember the feeling afterwards, because even more people came up and gave me more money. But so that was my first, will always be my favorite song of the Eurovision, because of the memories it holds to me. I did buy a bike afterwards with the money, which probably was a couple of £100 at the time, but the rest of the money strangely disappeared. I don't know where that went. My mother and father took it off me, so don't know where that went. But anyway, that was my first memory of Eurovision, and how important it was to me. Moving on from there would have to be Bucks Fizz played a big part of my early. I think didn't Bucks Fizz won in Ireland because of Johnny Logan? Yes, that's right. They won in Ireland the next year after Johnny Logan won. So Bucks Fizz with Making Your Mind Up. And let's face it, who didn't want to be Jay Aston or Cheryl Baker or Mike Nolan or Bobby something or other, I think his name was. I think his name. Anyway, me and my girlfriend always wanted to be what we used to do was we put towels on our heads and we'd wrap them around like, washing that man out of your hair towels. And then we'd put little, towels around our waist and we'd dance away to the song. We bought the LP and we danced away to the song. We'd rip each other's dresses off. I was always Jay Aston. Always. If my parents didn't know I was a ginormous homosexual at this stage, I don't know what did, because I actually remember, I think we even performed it. We did it in front of my parents and all of their friends, if I remember correctly. So there you go. That was 1981, by the way, when Johnny Logan won. But when in 1984, Sweden won with Diggy Loo Diggy Lay, which was a song by I think they were called the Hairleys or Henrys or Hurries. I'll put it up here anyway. And I loved and hated that song. And I loved that song because it was the first sort of, well, one of the recollections that I had when I realized, ooh, those boys are very cute. And I think I was about 11 or 12 at the time. So I remember watching them and just watching them bop around and just looking at them and going, wow, they're really cute, especially the lead singer. He was really, really cute. And I liked the song. And even though, I never knew what the song was about because it was sung in Swedish. But then I found out afterwards about golden shoes, and I've always wondered why they were wearing golden shoes or boots. It's because they sang a song about their golden boots. That's what the song was about. So that was my next sort of memory song. I loved that song simply because I was becoming a gay boy and a man and realizing, ooh, he's lovely. So, and it's funny because I don't actually like, I wouldn't be mad about blondes. All of my partners in life have been black haired and dark skinned. My husband Fabio is very dark skinned and very Latino looking. He's Brazilian. So, I always wonder, why the boys from Diggy Loo Diggy Lay did it for me. But anyway, so that was my next my next song, and then the next one that I always remember was the song that it beat that year. Was the first entry of the gorgeous Linda Martin for Ireland, and she sang a fantastic song called Terminal 3. You must go back and listen to all these songs. I can't play them on here. Number one, because I don't know how to do that. Also, because copyright, I believe. So, but it was a great song. Terminal 3, flights on time. Terminal 3, flights on time. And then there was the fly into me like the wings of all tomorrow. And then memories. La 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 la. I can't remember the rest of the words, but that was the famous Linda Martin reach and pull back. And I always remember that. I remember how pretty she was. But I was always pissed off with the fact that that Diggy Loo Diggy Lay or the boys from Harry's or whatever it is, beat her. Because I love that song and I still love it. And I still stand by the fact that it's a great song, even though it didn't win, but it came second. But next up for me would be, oh yes, God, of course, would be Celine Dion when she won in Dublin, and she only won by 1 point or 2 points, I think. And it's what launched her career. It really did launch her career, and she became a huge, big, obviously one of the biggest stars in the world. But her song was so beautiful, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's up here and la la da 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 na 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 la da da la da 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 da, something like that. And oh my God, I'm singing. But yeah, she was also one of my favorites, and obviously she won in Dublin. And my very good friend of mine, Gary, he's a hairdresser. Gary Kavanagh looked after her hair for that. Hi, Gary. Looked after her hair, and he obviously is one of his claims to fame is that he looked after Celine Dion, even though her outfit was horrific. Apparently, she arrived with nothing. She really didn't have a clue really what the competition was or what it's about. I don't think she even knew really how big it was. until she got to Ireland and went, "Holy shit, this is a really big deal." And obviously, she's not Swiss; she's French Canadian. So I can't remember what the connection is for Switzerland and her, but I think she got there, and obviously she knew the song, but didn't realize how big this opportunity was for her. And obviously she won, and look who she is now. But so then, there would be, obviously we had Riverdance, which was just a mega phenomenon that it became, worldwide phenomenon that it became, which was, I'll never forget watching it. And it was the year that we won again with Rock and Roll Kids, which was a beautiful song, which I've talked about before. And but the lovely bird just went by. But I remember watching that we were in the Ormond Hotel. A friend of mine, Brian Merriman, had a party, and there was a good lot of us at it. Hi, Brian. And I remember watching it, and I remember, it was a party full of gays, and we were all drinking. And I just remember it starting and Brian saying, "Oh, this is supposed to be amazing," and then we all just quietened down and started watching it. And I'll never ever forget the tingles up the back of my neck when I saw Gene Butler and when Michael came in and so on, and it was absolutely incredible. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before, and I think that it was during the time of the Celtic Tiger when Ireland was, in boom. It was just doing so well, and it was like this was just an added thing to it. It was like, put the cherry on the cake, if you like. It's really bizarre how things fell into place for Ireland at the time, and funnily enough, this just happened to be another one of those things that put Ireland on the world stage. And then when Moya Doherty, and her husband, they made the stage show for it, and it was just, you know, and it went around the world. It was just it really did. Everyone started realizing how amazing Ireland was and how beautiful it was, and it was doing so well financially, and obviously it didn't do well after that. But yeah, Riverdance was part of that sort of whole thing. It was part of that, free sense of you know of recognition for our country, for our tiny little country on the edge of Europe. It was an amazing time, to be living in Ireland, around that time. But I'll always remember that, as one of the most important Eurovision-y things to happen. And then there was, after that, coming into more modern times, you've got Conchita Wurst was just such an amazing winner. She was just unbelievable. And obviously Dana International, like, wow, when you think of that, she came from Israel, from such a conservative country. I know that Tel Aviv obviously is now very, very gay, and is one of the gayest capitals in the world. But then she was a trans woman in such an incredibly orthodox conservative country, and she represented represented the nation, and there was such uproar about her representing Israel, from the Jewish faith, from the Hasidic Jews, etc. And it was just, it was amazing what she went through, and she got death threats, and she got, like, she had to have security because of danger to her life. I mean, wow, what the hell, But it was amazing when she won, and once again, it was one of those pivotal moments that you'll never forget. Um, and then you've got, like, I love Alexander Rybak, I think his name is, with "I'm in Love with a Fairy Tale." That was an amazing song, and didn't he win? I think he won, like, the largest lead of any song, I believe. And then obviously Euphoria from Loreen is just such a great song. And then I absolutely adored the Ukrainian entry last year. I mean, just such a great song, and one of those songs that I still constantly listen to, and I always will, I think. Um, as far as Ireland goes, unfortunately, like I said, we've not an awful lot to be memorable about. You know, Jedward, Lipstick, or I have to say, Ryan O'Shaughnessy's song was a beautiful song and great, really beautiful dancers and so on. I do always believe that should have done better than it did. But then, you know, so many of these countries are homophobic that vote. When you think, and it's so bizarre that it's Eurovision, it's full to the brim. It's gay Christmas, for Christ's sake, and still countries are extremely homophobic. Like, look what happened with Poland. Although I think the girl did really well on the night, she came second, very, very below Britain, I think, the UK, and that was definitely blowback on the fact that there was a better singer who was clearly LGBTQ plus, and they didn't put him through because Poland is now gone all right wing. It's so sad. And I have mates of mine who have had to move out. They've moved from their home in Poland, and they now live in Spain, and they now live in Sitges because one of them has been beaten up twice on the streets, which is a bit disgusting. But swings and roundabouts. Hopefully, they'll come to their senses, and these right wing thugs and fuckers will piss off. That got a bit dark there. But so yeah, so that is my Eurovision memories for now. Until next year. Until next year, and hopefully I'll have more viewers and subscribers. So please, subscribe, and if you like this video, please like, give it a thumbs up. And I'd love to know your favorite acts and what you loved when you were growing up for Eurovision. Oh my God, I forgot to mention one. Jesus Christ. One of my all-time favorites, I mentioned her last time, was Germany, and it was Nicole. Oh my God, I loved that song, A Little Piece. I used to pretend to be her, and oh yeah, great song. So anyway, sorry about that. I forgot to put her in, but she was in the last one. So anyway, that's my Eurovision stuff for this year. Until next year, please God, we have a better song. And something we're really, really excited, Ireland are really, really excited about. I hope I haven't pissed anybody off. And please take care of yourself, and I will be obviously doing more videos and stuff. So I will put this up tonight, and I will talk to you all later. Oh, you'll be watching me bring the dog back from America. See you later. Ciao.